21, he says, yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. How do you see hope in a messed up situation? I've admitted that I'm the man that had to deal with a rod of rams. But yet, I have hope. It wasn't my choices. It wasn't my calling. But it was my sin. Yet, I have hope. Why do I have hope? He said, I remember this, because the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. I like to rephrase it like this, Kurt. If he didn't kill me, that must mean God believes he has another chance to use me. I don't think y'all heard me. Y'all heard me. He said because of his great love, he didn't consume me. He didn't kill me. I believe because God didn't kill me when he should have, when I deserved it, that he now has a chance to reuse me. If you want to find hope in your messed up situation, look at the realness of your situation. Take personal responsibility and find hope that when I deserve the worst, God gave his best. He says, I believe that he wants to restore me so he can remake me, so he can reuse me. Somebody say reuse me. As nasty as I was, he wants to reuse me. As dirty as I was, he wants to reuse me. Everything that I know, he wants to reuse me. Everything everybody else knows, he wants to reuse me. Everything I ain't told nobody, he still wants to use me. Yet I find hope in a messed up situation. Tell anybody you strung out, that's a messed up situation, yet you can find hope. Somebody caught up in sexual immorality, yet you have hope because he can reuse you. Caught up in everything that's imaginable to man, he can reuse you.
Praise God.
Why would he want to use me? Number one, I believe he wants to reuse you because if you read in the book of Daniel, Daniel the 9th chapter and the 2nd verse.
Come on.
Daniel, who is now in Babylon in captivity.
Okay, all right.
The Bible, we says that Daniel is sitting around one day and is reading the scriptures of Jeremiah.
All right.
And he says, from those scriptures, I began to pray to God that he release us like he said he would. Why do you think you got to go through what you got to go through? Quit looking at it all selfish and everything. Sometimes you got to go through something so somebody else can come out. Y'all didn't hear me. Y'all take a look. I was looking downstairs at the Drakesboro Community Center, and I'm in the community school, and I was looking at it, and I said, I could only imagine. I saw 53, and I said, I could only imagine what they had to endure. Being in our society. That's why I say I say we need to talk to our young people because they really listen. They really think they really have big problems with racism. They really don't know that. They really think that they think they actually have big time problems with racism. This was a segregated school. You couldn't go nowhere else. But they believe that they have we'll talk about that later. But here's what I'm saying, is that is a great illustration generation, every generation after them can profit from what they went through. I'm sure there were certain times that our saints walking down the streets of this city having to endure overt and obvious and out front racism. Pray to God, wondering why I gotta go through this. Why I gotta cow down and step for this man when he's nothing more than a man for me. Why is it that I should hold my head up instead of taking his head off? God is saying, because there's a generation that's coming after you that needs to see how man can hold up in the midst of adversity. There needs to be somebody that can guide the generation in 2008 of African American males to look back and see, yes, we can. Somebody has to endure so a next generation can extol. We understand that when we look at it, man, we gotta know that sometimes we gotta make it through our situation so somebody after us can make it through. God can use a remade person to help them understand that I want to use you to help somebody else. I'm trying to make, the second point was trying to make sense of this situation. To make sense of the situation, the first thing is you got to see that it ain't just about you. That your situation is helping somebody else. The second thing is, how can I find hope and make sense of this messed up situation? The second thing I got to understand is that God made me a promise.
That's it.
Jeremiah in the 29th chapter and 11th verse, he said, I know you.
I know you.
He said, but I want you to understand, you in captivity, but I want you to understand, I got plans for you. And my plans is not to harm you, but my plans is for you to prosper. Now you're sitting there wondering, after I got listed all of this in verse 21, from verse 1 all the way down to 19, talking about my sin situation, talking about how messed up I am, talking about how much I deserve it, but then yet I have hope. How can I find hope when I understand that God made me a promise that he's not going to harm me, but he's going to use me to prosper me, and not only me, but those around me. How can I find hope? How can I keep my head up sometimes and get on out the bed and roll on out the door and be about my day? Because I know God's going to use me in spite of me. How can I stay in a messed up situation instead of just losing my mind? Because I have hope that God is going to fulfill what he said to me. If you don't believe it, Jesus said, lo, I am with you to the end of the age. I'll never give up on God, because he's never given up on you. Your situation might be messed up, it might be ugly, but God will bring you out and use you for his work. You can understand, God don't, he ain't in this thing to see if he can break us down. He's in this to build us up. To anybody, whoever has admitted and know that you caught up in sin, don't ever let the enemy make you believe that you are so messed up that God can't bring you back. If you could sin so much that God wouldn't forgive you, then there was no point for Jesus coming at all. But Jesus said in Mark 10, if he said, the Son of Man has come not to be served, but to serve, so that he can